When I was 6, my arachnophobic mother sprayed a sizable 8-legged beast with the nearest noxious aerosol can available. It was a can of hairspray. The spider froze rigid to the ceiling and presumably expired, choking and paralysed, until someone tall enough and brave enough came along to scrape it off its undignified place of death. Now, I would never think of aiding the likes of Venom, Dr. Octopus or Mysterio with battling New York's favourite merchandise-shifting web-slinger, but if I was one of these dastardly deviants, I'd be hitting up Clairol for an extra big old can of extra hold. That, children, is called an intro. It's a rather meandering intro, but it will kind of set the scene for the blathering talk we're about to have about Sega's 1991 scrolling beat-em-up, Spider-Man: The Arcade. Spider-Man was a 4-player coin-op released by Sega in April 1991 for its System 32 hardware. On first inspection, it looks like your standard scrolling brawler 10 a penny in arcades around the world. But occasionally, some impressive for the time real-time scaling effects kick in, and it changes to a side-scrolling platformer akin to something like Strider, thanks to Spider-Man's multi-surface wall crawling. This was System 32 in action, with its unique chipset being utilised to good effect in things like Radmobile, Outrunners and Revenge of Death Adder. It was doing scrolling around about the same time that the Super Nintendo was, only this was in the arcade, so it looked all flashier. The game itself has simple controls with just a jump and attack button used in various combinations. If you press both buttons together, your character will do a special attack, which is awfully nice, isn't it? It doesn't have the special attack joystick commands of later releases like Capcom's AVP, instead preferring a bare-bones method of attack with the odd grapple coming in like the first Turtles game, or Sega's very own Golden Axe, of course. Strangely, Spider-Man reuses music from an older arcade Sega game, Quartet. Here it is. And in Spider-Man. As for the franchise it's based on, if you aren't aware of Spider-Man, hello, this is the internet. Don't worry, it's not magic. I'm not a little human trapped inside this thing. Spider-Man is, of course, the world's most popular superhero, with merchandise sales of $1.3 billion a year, dwarfing second place Batman, who has just $494 million. Good grief, Bruce! As if seeing your parents murdered in cold blood in front of you wasn't brutal enough. Spider-Man has also appeared in 38 video games, ranging from the 1982 release of Spider-Man for the Atari 2600 to the 2018 release Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. He's also appeared in Revenge of Shinobi as a boss that in some versions turns into Batman. How bizarre! There are 4 characters in this game, and not all of them are spider people. This is before every second character in Marvel had run-ins with radioactive spiders of different sorts, so there's no symbiotes, at least not ones you can control anyway. No Miles Morales, no Silk, no Spider-Pig, no Scarlet Spiders, no Kane, no Spider-Woman, no Spider-Girl, no Doppelganger, and no Gwen Stacy. Look at Marvel, they've achieved a biological impossibility and found teats on a spider, and boy are they milking away with gay abandon. Spider-Man, the one actually in the game, is of course a litter of legends Peter Parker, him off all the movies, the 90s show where cops shoot at him with lasers, weird Japanese 70s shows, and my first encounter with him the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends TV show, neither of which show up for this game. Some friends they are. By the way, this always bothered me. Wouldn't Aunt May see this hanging upside down in the living room? Oh, and let's not forget this dark internet stuff too. You'll find it on YouTube. Daddy finger, where are you? Oh my god, this is the stuff of horrors. Do not go down this path too far. So yes, this is Spider-Man in his game. Look at him in his truly heroic action-y walk here. Yes, doesn't look like an old man at all in a garden centre, pottering around, trying to find some happiness in his life as his wife nags him. Look at this walk. Just look at it. Look at it. You're pathetic, Spider-Man. Look at your walk. This is not a superhero. This is a walk of a beaten man. A beaten man, Spider-Man. As for his friends that have actually turned up, screw you, Iceman and Fire What's It, we have Poundland versions of DC's Green Arrow, Catwoman and Aquaman. Seriously, look at Namor the Submariner. How does Aquaman get that much abuse when we've got Spock in Speedos here? Look at his little wings on his feet. Look at him. He's pathetic. Look at him. Look at him. What child wants to be Namor in his pants? Look at him. What an idiot. This chap is, of course, Hawkeye, famous for not getting much screen time in the Avengers movies, not even being featured in the last one. Poor Hawkeye. Well, it's because he shoots arrows and it's 2018. Well, that's not much use now, is it? And then we have the hairy tits girl herself, Black Cat, who is an agile burglar who sometimes works with Spider-Man and sometimes against him and gets all flirty with Batman. Spider-Man. Jesus, they really didn't try to hide their influence here, did they? And so we traipse across a clutch of levels, hurriedly pushing the teeth in of criminal fools and the dads of the Shy Guys from Mario 2 with our super-powered fists. Along the way, we will remove the pleasure from the day of many of Spider-Man's rogues gallery of naughty buggers. Here's Hobgoblin, so called because he hates plates and eats directly from the top of his oven. So he gobbles off the hob? Do you see what I'm sorry. That's terrible. And then there's Green Goblin, who's the same but vegan. Sorry, I kind of apologised, then went straight back to that terrible joke. Moving on, there's morbidly obese Mitchell brother, the Kingpin, many-limbed Elton John impersonator, Dr. Octopus, Mr. Hip Hop.
It's not hip hop, it's electro prick.
Then we have future Handbag the Lizard. Look at him in his lovely coat. Then we've got the Scorpion, named after another unpleasant animal that has, swords for legs, scissors for hands, and venomous hate in its weaponised arse. Yeah, hard to love a scorpion. You could put a little plastic Labrador head with super glue on that little area there. Is that his face? I don't know. They're horrible looking things. Might make it more appealing. It's just an idea. Someone can steal it. Yeah, sell little Labrador heads for scorpions. There must be someone who works in the scorpion industry and wants to make money from them. Probably. Then you've got Mr. Sandman, as in, like the song. Yeah, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Bum, 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 bum. Or that Metallica one. Excel Light. Yeah, I don't think they're related to him. Him in his little green t-shirt. And then you've got Dr. Doom, whose name backwards is Mood Rot Cod, which is genuinely how I feel most of the time. When you get to my age, you just feel a bit worn down, a bit like a rotten fish. And he's the main villain, is our Dr. Doom, who's got like the secret mega MacGuffin-y thing that Spider-Man wants to get off of him because he's going to do no good with it. Yeah, more power to Spider-Man. Thanks for helping us out, fella. Dr. Doom, when he gets hold of stuff, it's never good. Oh, and Venom. Lots of him for some reason. Venom is going to be played in a new movie by Tom Hardy, who both your mum and your girlfriend would like to sleep with. Try not to imagine your mum and your girlfriend sleeping together with Tom Hardy at the same time. Sleep easy. As for the game itself, well, the beat-em-up bits are fine. There's not really a lot to write about. They're kind of one of the tenner-penny beat-em-ups that were in the arcades at the time. There's, it's not particularly something you want to play through too many times. It's not special in any way. I think other games in the genre did it a lot better. It doesn't really stand out from the crowd, apart from those bits where it switches to a platformer. The battles against the Green Goblin are fun voids, in all honesty. It's pretty hard to hit him about the head, as he's always zooming around on an airborne version of one of them hoverboards that was weirdly popular around about the time Brexit happened. They were a thing, weren't they? What's that? What were they about? As stated earlier, the platform sections are a bit like Strider, but they're not very good either, really. It's sort of Strider, if you imagine that as being a headline at a festival, and the Spider-Man platform bits are sort of a tribute band to that headline act, but they perform exclusively in village pubs. In other words, what I'm saying is the platform bits are a bit like Strider, but nowhere near as good. Now, should you play Spider-Man? You could. Yes, you could. There's no need for you to do it. Your life won't be improved by it. It's competent. It's a competent release. Sega themselves will put out a much better scrolling beat-em-up on the Mega Drive in the same year in the form of Streets of Rage, which is a bit of a flip on the convention at the time, because you always expect arcade games to be better. I would say that Streets of Rage is the Sega 1991 beat-em-up game you should be playing, really. With that said, as I say, there's nothing wrong with the Spider-Man game, apart from these weird noises that the bad guys make when you punch them. What's that about? And of course the arthritic walking middle-aged Spider-Man, who really doesn't convey any of the agility of the character that we've come to know and love. It's just that walking animation. It's so weird.
Start? I don't feel so good.
Anyway, okay, thanks, bye.